I want to address what you were saying about, would I prove him wrong if I could? I suppose what happened differently for us.
If it was that vitriolic.
If it was that vitriolic.
Yeah.
I didn't. Granted, Daily Wire outed themselves and they said it was because people assumed it was them. After I had a conversation, conversation with the Daily Wire, my determination was they do business in a way that I don't agree with, but I like that they're doing things that have a cultural impact in the positive. Thus, I'm going to build my thing the way I think it's supposed to be.
Right.
Let them make the things they make with the people who agree with being a part of that. And hopefully, even if they're not 100% in the right direction, if it's 1% producing cultural net positive, I'll just have to be the force that pushes it.
But what if it's 80% net negative?
That's your view, right?
I think, well, again, the view should be the people the investors in our case, right? There are no other investors, right? I own 100% of my company. We've entered into licensing agreements where people have temporary ability to monetize the subscribers and the content therein, right? We still have all the content. When we left the Blaze, we still have that because there was a period of time. The issue there is what we're talking about is penalizing people on behalf of big tech. Was that your impression? Because that's not the impression that's given. And you know what? There are a lot of things that you can get. And I really want this to be done. Just pledge that we won't penalize people on behalf of big tech. We can talk about it. Hey, there are ways to do it with Rumble. I know you've talked about a decentralized solution to people subscribing, right? And I think there's good with that. There are also issues because people have so many different places where they have to pay right now and they kind of want to get one portal. Hopefully there's a way to figure that out. Here's what you do as far as a contract. If it's someone who's coming in its entire production house, I've been having contracts negotiated. You said you were in SAG 2000. So I was in since I was 12 years old and had agents negotiating contracts and term sheets. I know what a term sheet looks like. Every time we do a live show. By the way, I'll be in Louisville, Kentucky, February 10th. I think we're adding a show on Thursday. You can go buy tickets on the website. Every time I do a live show, there's a term sheet. And the term sheet is, this is what happens with live shows. Okay? There's a minimum guarantee.
Yeah.
And the minimum guarantee is no matter 5 people show up, if it's your dad and your Aunt Tilly, we pay you this, and then there's a percentage of the gate. And if you want more, if you're willing to bet on yourself, right, you say lower that guarantee and take a higher portion of the gate. I go in and say, don't give me a guarantee, and I'll just take the gate. And they sell their drinks, right? They end up making more money. We're giving them less risk. What you do is, Luke, to answer your question, you can present it if it's a production company where you want them to incur all of the risk, all of the costs. Okay, you do a rev split where there's upside for both sides. Or some people want security, right? We have 1099s who work at the company. We have employees. Some people want security, and so they become salaried, and they get health insurance. They get a 401k. You can provide 2 options. You can do a rev split, or you can do an employee agreement for people who want to do that. In this case, they want to do employee-type constraints. And again, none of this matters as far as I can't be clear enough. I said, take me off the table here. The issue is entirely the enforcement of punitive practices through mandate at the most powerful company. But you can do it those ways. And there are a million ways to skin a cat. You can make that work. And that's the way that it's done. We both know in the liberal cesspool that is Hollywood, where everyone is out trying to screw somebody. They still know that you can't do that. They still know that that's not
the decision
enforceable.
to remain monetized rests with the creator and always stays there. It's not a part of the model because to your 51%, yes, that's fine unless we fast forward 5 years. 5 years from now, Daily Wire is undisputed number 1, 5 million subscribers, and big tech turns the switch. Would it be better to course correct a little bit now with a little bit of pain, or would it be better to wait until it's too late?
It's better to do it now because Microsoft could buy Daily Wire tomorrow. Yeah. It's very dangerous to consolidate.
That's a really good point.
Or BlackRock.
BlackRock could buy Rumble tomorrow.
Well,
Rumble is not safe. It's a private company that's all centralized. It's very dangerous.
They're a public company. And here's the one thing that I like about, because look, Rumble tweeted out like, hey, we offer these non-restrictive contracts. I think was it France? Right,
yeah,
Rumble's a public company. Think of the balls it takes. Where I think it was the government of France said you have to start changing content, and they said, right, when you're a public company and you tell an entire government, fine, ban us. That's the kind of balls that people are like, and these people. And by the way, the guy who runs is a Canadian, the CEO. Mm-hmm. He's not even. I don't think he's super conservative. He just sees the writing on the wall. Why did those people get it? Why? Because he's been under the, I would say, tyranny now. When you see someone like Trudeau, just because he does blackface and he can't throw a jab doesn't mean that he's not a tyrant, right? People have lived under that tyranny. They go, we can't let that happen here. So Rumble gets it. They tell France to go fornicate themselves with a wire brush, but the people who take money from hard-earned conservative Americans who are wondering how they can fight back, how they can have a voice, don't see it. Do they not see it? Or is it the business model, right? You can't have both.
That's what I'm wondering. Did you feel like your buddy, and then what I mean your buddy, like Jeremy, you and Jeremy are friends-ish or friends or whatever, but that he lowballed you, he knows your value and he lowballed you, and you're like, dude, if you're going to do that to me, I'm going scorched earth.
No,
I'll do everything legal in my.
It wasn't the lowball. It wasn't the lowball. It was the hey, look, prompt. Look, let's just sit down and talk about how you can do this without mandating through punitive practices against not some, according to him in his video, all conservative content creators. Let's find a different way because there's no future in this. There's a lot there that's permissible, right? In business, money, I get it. Yeah, lowball, sure. And you know that. Everyone knows that. But what's really hard to deal with is there was a period, like I talked about with Gerald Note, where I was super depressed, felt kind of hopeless because this has been a long time in the making, and you knock on one door and you have people you think are on your side. You know, it's, no, wait, this is how it works. And then because you don't see behind, the curtain, you hear that we're fighting back against big tech, and you see this offer, and you go, oh, there's no future here. And the response to this is not right has always been money, 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 money. I can't stress it enough. So it's not about the money.
So what is the future in your mind then? What needs to be done?
What first needs to be done is people to mean what they say. And if you are taking money from conservatives out there under the guise that you are fighting big tech, start fucking fighting big tech. Start with that. Okay, I don't know about and I know that when I say this, by the way, there are going to be 4 or 5 hatchet men coming from the Daily. I understand that, by the way. Have you seen anyone else in these videos? This is the first time Gerald's been here because I'm like, look, you handle the finances more than I do. It's me. It's 2-on-1, it's 3-on-1, it's 4-on-1. And gee golly, we thought we were friends. And you know what? I'm not going to call anyone a bitch. I mean what I said. Andrew Klavan's one of my all-time favorite people. I think Jordan Peterson is unbelievable. I'd go to the wall for that guy. I think Ben Shapiro is brilliant. Never met Candace Owens. Michael Knowles, my experience with him, I don't know him as well. I really like him. I like a lot of these people.
Good singer.
Is he a good singer?
Michael, he played guitar too.
Well, he has that voice. I mean, Andrew Klavan, he told me he had that voice since he was like 6. Where he was like, well, teacher, on Parent-Teacher Appreciation Day, I'll give you an apple. And they were like, this is how you talk. And it's genuine. It's genuine. Here's the thing. Keep doing it if that's what they want. I'm not going to, at a certain point, my tolerance will run out. So send 4, send 5. At a certain point, don't send anyone you expect back in one piece.
But what will you make, right? You talked in the beginning, you were saying something about it's hard for everyone to just pay all across the board randomly to different people. Like if you want to support a creator, you're on one website, you're on another website.
Yes, yeah.
So how would you?
It's a subscription fatigue, right? You have the same with like Netflix and Hulu. So can I answer your question with a question to Crash Test Dummies here? That doesn't offend you, right?
He does look like one.
Boys and black.
There you go.
I love that there's national treasures.
What's your question for
My
him?
question for him is because he said, like, this might be a solution. You have this idea, or you're creating an actual product. I don't know all of it.
Yeah.
Of a decentralized way to subscribe to people because, and also people who get to keep their subscribers. By the way, this isn't Daily Wire. It is industry standard in the conservative sphere. You don't get to know how many subscribers you have. You don't get to take them with you, which only hurts people who are paying if you end up leaving, if you end up not being with a network.
Yeah.
That's industry standard, not Daily Wire. Again, Stop Big Con was not just about Daily Wire. You don't even know. You don't even get to reach them. That is the standard, not just there. And you mentioned something before the show, and I'm a little ignorant as to what it is. Forgive me. You said it's like this decentralized ability for people to sort of an anti-Patreon is what I think you said.
Yeah, it is just basically doing what Patreon does, but without a Patreon middleman. So it'd be a software packet that you download, install on your computer, and then you can start uploading videos through the software packet to Rumble as a server or YouTube as a server, unlisted, the videos. And then people would go to your website where you have a front end hosted with this packet, and they can subscribe $10 a month. Then they can see on your website the unlisted videos from the other sites. It's pretty rudimentary. It's what Tim's using, a system like that. He's not using the tech.
That doesn't sound rudimentary at all. That was like Chip Douglas with a remote control.
Here's
basic cable stuff.
It
seems incredibly complicated.
Here's the idea.
To pull off.
The idea right now is that you're an independent creator.
Yeah.
You go to Patreon, you go to Locals.
Yeah.
You go to someone else's company, you sign up, there's the infrastructure, you give them 10%.
Right.
I've done the math. 10% is steep, but they're trying to run a business, have employees. So I get it.
Yeah. Sure.
So what we were talking about, it's a long time ago, make the software, you get your own server space, your cost. You get your own domain, your cost. You install that software for free, open source, and boom, instantly your website is a clone of a subscription service website with an easy-to-use backend for you that networks with anyone else who uses it. You can also blacklist certain sites from your site if you're like, I don't want my site to recommend this,
Skittles and rainbows.com.
Exactly. Very nasty stuff right there. So, or it's just you let the algorithm recommend whatever the recommend, like similar words and phrases. So what this does is, if I go to your website, and you want to be included in the network, people will see, and this could be bad for business. Some people might want to do it. They will see like recommended Timcast IRL episode with Steven Crowder and be like, oh, I'd like to watch that show too. Creating, it's so YouTube's, one of the powerful things about YouTube is that it recommends shows after shows.
Yeah.
And that recommendation
Every single time I
algorithm.
watch one of my shows, it's Seth Meyers.
Oh, wow.
Right.
We
And
get
so
Lex
YouTube,
Friedman.
this is my
Do you?
point.
Yeah, everyone gets
That's
Lex.
way better than Seth Meyers.
But
Lex Friedman's good.
This is the point. It used to be legitimate. It used to be that if you watched Crowder, you get recommended similar shows or more Crowder. Now they're driving everyone away.
Right. Yeah.
And so they're taking away the natural networking marketing value.
Yeah.
So our idea was create it decentralized. No one gets a cut of your money. That's your business. You got to spend money on your bandwidth. That's your business.
Sure.
But it's free, open source, and it rips away from the centralization and creates.
So I really like that. Now, here's the one thing too that Gerald kind of knows is what's always been true north to me is the viewer, right? As a person watching, is how do they get the most value for their money? And there are so many places to subscribe right now.
It's too fragmented.
Yes, and but I also understand the danger of a centralized power.
Right.
But if there would be a way for, kind of like you were talking about with Maker, for there to be an alliance where maybe there's some kind of a price break or discount if you get to subscribe to these other creators, right? So that you don't have to do $6 on a Patreon here or $5, on locals here. And by the way, nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying people feel like there's this payment fatigue, this subscription fatigue. If we want to fight the left, right? Think about just what they call the stream with Batista. He's in this like canoe, talking about like Disney, ESPN, and what is it? Disney and Hulu.
Hulu.
Right? That's a value added. And I think this is what was so disheartening was really hoping that we could do that in the conservative movement where people can kind of get access to a portal and support the people that they want to. I don't know that it's possible. But if there would be some way for the view, because for the viewer, what's ideal is to be able to get access to more people that they want rather than having it because the price adds up.
Right now,
that's hard.
It's like $10 for Tim, $10 for you. With this tech that I'm building, we haven't had the multi subscription system set up, but you could do something where it's like 10 for him, 10 for you, or 18 for both of you. Then you each get 9.
Right.
You'll eventually have to take some sort of loss discount if you're going to run a packet. Otherwise, it would just be 20
Right,
for
but you would hit
2.
critical
It's hard to
mass,
figure out that
right?
number,
You hit critical
too.
mass.
Right.
Yeah, it is. It's tough to figure it out. But there are ways to do it. Obviously, people on the left have done it to some degree. The worst thing that I will say, the thing that really is YouTube. Is it YouTube Red or YouTube Premium? What do they call
Premium.
it now?
Yeah,
I
used
tell
to
you,
be Red,
I tell
right?
you what though. You know what sucks about it? That's actually a really good deal. You get YouTube Music, which replaces Spotify. You get YouTube TV, which replaces cable and Sling, and you get HBO Max. You're like,
But they're
dude.
subsidized.
Yes,
No.
they are subsidized. But guess what? So are these companies on the right.
All right.
But they're subsidizing it in a way that is
I'll tell
not
you.
foundationally sound for a move forward.
Let me tell you something that really.
I feel like this should
It's-
require
it's-
hallucinogens going forward. Like, man, this
I'm
is
so happy to if you're
This-
interested. We'll
something.
go to a mountain somewhere. Or something.
He's game.
Let me tell you guys something that is kind of crazy to me, and people don't believe. There are no investors in Timcast. There's only me as the principal of the entire company, sole owner, sole board member, president, CEO, treasurer, chairman, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's staff. I have a COO. We've got people who work here, but I own literally all of it, control all of it, with no outside investment. It's literally just I started making.
and you're not
money-
even Jewish.
Yeah,
I'm just saying
it's
as a
the
joke to
Korean.
the anti-Semites in there. By the way, we're not talking about. No one who we're
that's
talking
a
about is
point.
even Jewish. Just to be clear.
That's a point I make all the time. There are people who have been successful in media who aren't. I don't know why they have that conspiracy belief.
Yeah.
But it was shocking for me to find out that these big alternatives only exist because some powerful industrialist or billionaire decided I'm going to spend money, but that money comes with their influence. Now, the only issue I have with that is that we don't know what their influence is.
And you owe.
If you come to timcast.com, you know the whole influence and driving force behind this is literally just me.
Yeah.
If you're a customer here, as a member or whatever, you're supporting us, it is literally me in charge of everything. But a lot of these other companies, you don't know who's behind the scenes putting money in and saying, hey guys, I want to see this. I understand how businesses work. I understand how investment works. But you won't know.
And if you knew, it's ball retractingly terrifying. I mean that. There's some information, again, that you're not going to open third parties. It's probably going to be coming out in the next 6 months, year, that will shock people, startle people. I could tell you that, but would I have to provide receipts, and would that be a betrayal? That's the issue, right? I've given you a lot of information that you can publicly audit, and I think that's important. I'm not going to pull people in. Like I said, Gary said you can use it. I can't show you the 3, 4, 5 other instances just in the last 2 years where that's happened. It is absolutely terrifying. But what was the crazy idea you were saying? I thought you were going to I thought you just came up with a business plan or something. It
No,
seemed
no,
like,
no.
oh,
It's just, I was saying it's crazy to me.
that's not so crazy. That's totally reasonable. I guess that's why I'm throwing
No. What's crazy to me is that we've gotten to the point we have without that when seemingly no
That's
one else
true.
does.
It's really
But
easy,
here's
too.
what I want to say, Stephen.
Really
I'm
easy,
looking.
dude.
I'm looking at. I don't think it's really
To have the
easy.
website rolling with subs.
Oh, no,
there's
no,
some
no,
back.
right.
There need like two people.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
and one
this
thing I should-
business
one-
is hard,
one-
man.
one
What
thing
I-
I should say, we've had a lot of offers too from people who like run these sort of credit card processing, these platforms, right?
Yeah.
Offering to give us better rates as well. So there are a lot of people who've come forward. Like I said, it's not about Daily Wire wasn't even the highest offer. Just to be
But
clear.
here's what I want to say.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this right in front of every single person. I think you're gonna make $100 million a year.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely insane.
I think I'm right.
But I would never demand that. Just to be clear,
Do you see what bar you're setting for me? Did I tell you my new job?
Yes, for crying out loud. You're trying to give him a heart attack.
I've seen your numbers. I know. Look, we've got 175,000 people watching on a show that normally gets 40 to 45,000. 130,000 live viewers, quadrupling the live viewership we get because you came to talk about something that is important to you.
Yeah.
You have people who are not only fans of your content, who are entertained by it, but also believe in you. Looking at your Mug Club numbers, I think you launch this thing. You maybe not. Look, it's gonna snowball rolling downhill. I think you launch this thing and you're making $3 to $5 million per month right off the get go.
And by the way, you mean the whole production company?
Whole production company,
Right,
not you personally.
Which
your staff, your
I'm at a
employees,
fork in
and
the
your
road.
budgets.
I'm at a fork in the road, which is
You're gonna need a lot of money for bandwidth. You're gonna get a lot of people to sign up.
I could walk away, and I understand this isn't lost on me. The only way people will 100% believe what I say, and that there's no ulterior motive, which is what I tried to do in the negotiations, like take me off the table. This is why this is a sticking point. Is if I walk away from this forever. Is if I never monetize again, and I just go back off into the sunset. Just do stand up, maybe do a once a week show, something like that, so I can continue selling out the venues, and I could do that. And Gerald knows that I strongly considered that at one point. And I think he was the one, if I'm not mistaken, who said, like, yeah, but then if you do that, then this will just all blow over in 2 months, and it'll be the same problem. So I get the question of authenticity again, but I would ask you if this is the easy decision, if this is the easy route to take. Could have just taken the money, shut up. Could have gone off, and I don't think it's $100 million. I think you're absolutely insane.
No, I'm not.
I think there's hallucination. I think he slipped you.
Nope. No. Look, we know about the Daily Wire's subscriber numbers. They have what, 1 million paying subscribers. It's between $7 and $13 per month to be a member there. They've talked about their yearly revenues.
Wait, it's $13 a month. Okay, I
for their video content, I believe it's $13.
They run
a
some
month.
promos and stuff like that, but yeah.
They have different tiers.
right? And it's
all.
like look, I think
Luke wants to talk about the IRS. He's going to
I think-
IRS, yeah.
Listen.
and the Epstein-Maxwell scandal.
I'm saying, for one, the easy route for you would have absolutely been sign the deal, take the money and shut up, let everyone else worry about all the problems, and go sit on the beach with a coconut and just do the bare minimum.
Yeah.
But I think
Phone it in.
if you go the hard way, which running a company, especially with I think the size of memberships you're going to have, is going to be very difficult and time consuming, but just make Gerald do all the hard heavy.
Well,
things.
if here's the thing,
Sorry,
if
honey,
we
I won't be
continue,
home.
if we continue down this route, then there's got to be other people, right? We have to have
Yeah.
other shows on there. I could have again just gone off and done it and just kept Mug Club, but Gerald, I said, like, look, either I'm going to leave at this point, or we can't just complain and bitch.
Yeah.
We have to do it better, and that's kind of where we are. And by the way, we still haven't decided what it is that we're going. It's a tough decision to make.
Yeah.
I own 100% of Mug Club, always have. We did the Mug Club Forever, so we now know how many people are out there. We were really clear. We're like, do not go to Mug Club Forever unless you are currently in Mug Club. We're going to send out we double captcha, double opt-in, culled the list, so we know. We're like, don't go. And is it a newsletter? No. Are you going to get any spam? Nothing. Any updates? Only when and where and if Mug Club returns. And this is a little bit of the young Frankenstein. Ovaltine? Nothing.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Do you think that when you are going to launch something independent, it's going to be Mug Club, but then you're going to add on shows. Do you think you'll be bigger than the Daily Wire?
I don't care.
No. Real question. Based on your memberships, based on the amount of views you get, do you think you will be bigger than? I'm not saying this as
It would if I decided that let me answer it this way. I've wanted to be done with this by the time I'm 40 as far as hosting the show on air. The last thing you want to do is overstay your welcome, and then move to I wouldn't say like necessarily like a Harvey Weinstein or like a Bruckheimer, but more like a Suge Knight.
How old are you now?
35.
Okay.
So and I want to be able to pass that torch.
When's your birthday?
July.
July, okay.
Yeah. So I want to be able to pass that torch. Right now, there is no ability to, because you now realize there's no ability for people to come up and do. But it would be really hard for you to do what you do now today. You know that, right?
Yeah. And harder and harder.
And it'd be
every day.
harder.
Yeah.
It'd be impossible for someone to do what I do. I don't want to pull the ladder up behind me. So I want to be able to move into a production role. But really, what motivates me is being able to pass that mantle and make a difference. I guarantee you, if we were to do it, it'd be within striking distance of the big boys, which I'd be fine with. But as long as we do something that we believe in, and I promise we will never demand people's YouTube monetization. We will never punish them if they're not. And it has to be something fair. And it has to be us not shortchanging the investor, meaning the people, Mug Club. It's entirely independent, paying us to fight for what they believe in. Whatever those numbers are, I'd accept them.
I'll tell you my prediction, which who knows could be worthless.
Yeah, Nostradamus hit me.
You launch subscription service, independent Mug Club. You get 300,000 hard signups at 10 or more per month. I mean, it was $10 a month for a lot of people. It's going up because of inflation, because people need raises and things like that. But let's say you did $10 a month. You're looking at like 3 million in memberships with no ad reads at all. Let's say you do programmatic reads on the podcast version, meaning you, Steven, never read a single ad. Then you're looking at another, based on your traffic, I'd estimate another $2 to $5 million per year, not per month. So right off the bat, you're looking at $40 million per year. Then here's what happens. Steven Crowder then offers big players really good contracts. No BS, no fees, none of that. Out the gate, it's a legitimately good contract that gives your business a small cut, but gives them the lion's share for the work they produce. They're going to say, oh, I'm signing with Mug Club. The terms were incredible. I mean, Crowder's going to make money off the deal. The company's going to grow.
With the draft, with the hats.
That's right. I'm getting a lot of money. Then what's going to happen is it's going to make it very difficult for the big con, these other big conservative companies, to sign these deals. When a young creator says, I appreciate the offer, it's tempting, but Crowder's offering me twice the money with no setbacks.
Yeah. I would really, really like it, genuinely, and Gerald knows this, if there's someone else in the space who handles that shit. Because I'm not a business guy. Here's the thing. I'm not a business guy.
Yeah.
I'm a guy who outpunted his coverage, right? You can go back and watch with a blue bed sheet, who was doing stand-up comedy and acting, and then had my back up against the wall, right? I would really like it if there was someone else who already has the money, who already has that ability to do it. If they can't, okay, I'll carry that torch. But, I don't know. Maybe there's someone out there. Are there enough good men and enough people left? Because that's not the best use of my time. Like, it takes a lot of time to do a Goodwill Hunting. Do you have any idea how hard it is to make Schindler's List funny when you're doing a parody? You know what I mean? It's a lot of work. That's where my time is better spent. And that's where the time, by the way, of all the creators is best spent.
Yeah.
But instead, they're being forced to make this decision. You know you're a creative type. You want to deal with numbers and back end and business. It's exhausting.
Yeah, I have to do it. I know I don't want to do it. I have to. So I'm building this technology. But
Right.
boring. That's what Jeremy Boring
And why
is.
do you have to do it?
Why? Because we need a new subscription service for creators.
It shouldn't fall upon you, though.
I have two
But
questions.
you're willing
Who
to
else
do
is
it.
going to do it?
No.
Let's do it.
Exactly.
If
Not you, who, if not me, who, if not now, when. That's the
Let me-
sentiment.
And shout out to
let
Philip
me-
Fisher, the guy building this stuff. Pure genius. I will introduce you to him soon.
And
Philip,
I
it's
will
happening,
say,
brother.
and I will say to everybody listening, it's you. It will only ever be you. When you see a burning building, you think, who's going to call this in? No. No one's going to call it in. It's going to be you.
Right.
I once watched, when I was 16 years old, I saw an old lady at a bus stop flip over, land on her back, and I paused and said, I have no idea what to do. What is happening? I look around and I'm like, I got to figure this one out. And I ran full speed to a building and just screamed, call 911, a lady's hurt. There's nobody else. You can't sit back and just cross your fingers and hope someone else will take care of the problem.
Right.
Yeah, you got to be the hero of your own story. I just wanted to ask.
That makes me feel terrible.
I just wanted to ask two quick questions for you guys. One, would you guys be open to doing like competitions or contests for new talent? And a lot of people are asking about Not Gay Jared in the comment section. Can you guys clear up what's happening in that situation? Some people are saying that there's an NDA.
Yeah, well, that's the thing I think Candace brought up, right? Again,
Yeah.
There's a difference between roping in third parties versus single party consent. I think he tweeted out what happened, where he left, right? Not Gay Jared. He tweeted out that he left. It was his own decision. We did a whole send-off with him in a video montage. This works with like conspiracies. And sometimes, look, there's also a middle ground where there's, for example, like, what is the email, by the way, if people are talking about shows?
I think it's creators at Ladder.
Yeah, creators at Ladder. So that's actually not a bad idea, a contest. If we, but the reason I didn't want to do it is because I didn't want to think that's like, hey, this is why we're doing this right now. But we do have a place where people can reach out. The challenge is like there's completely controlling contracts, right, that own your name, image, likeness, and your platforms that you already built in perpetuity. Okay, that's an extreme example. That's big con. Then you have people who are like, hey, I have no experience. I've never done a show, but I really think I could do it well if you give me money. That's a situation where you'd be incurring all the risk. There is a middle ground. And I think what needs to happen is if we do, I'm not going to be in the business of just creating shows from the ground up, but there are people out there who say, hey, look, I have a channel that's doing relatively well. I keep hitting the ceiling that is YouTube saying we need you to play this kind of ball. I'm suffering from the advertising rates, the sponsorship rates dropping across the board. And I can just be, the gasoline on that fire to back them up. Really, why would you sign with a network if they don't have your back? That's the only reason to. Otherwise, be independent, right? What is the upside at that point? That's all we want to be. And whatever subscribers you generate, you keep. That's the only way I would be able to do it.
It's really publicity. These big networks get their faces seen, but if you can do it without that, but
so
I'm really
people are still asking: is there an NDA? That's what people are asking.
There are NDAs to everyone, just like here. I had to sign a waiver when I came. If you come into our studio,
standard business practice.
Yeah, you can't come in and tell people where the studio is.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
I mean,
we have NDAs.
you guys have had
that.
that.
Of course.
Yeah.
If only for location, it would be worth it.
Yeah. Also because he walks around without pants half the time.
We have NDAs because we work on projects, and in order, it's really, really complicated. One of the simplest reasons is like we don't want you leaking information about us. Location is a good and obvious thing, but also projects we're working on cost a lot of money to do preliminary research. If someone then goes to a competitor or any other media company and says, here's what Timcast is working on and all their stuff, it just completely destroys the entire attempt at making the project. Things like that.
Of course, and you can have people stealing, creative content, right? I mean, that happens anyway. This is the most common thing that happens, right? The big boys, they go, oh, that really works. Hey, let's do exactly that. Put $25 million behind it just to promote it. Now it's ours.
I was thinking about these. Let me mention
chats.
Perpetuity clauses really quick before we go to super chats, because you brought them up a couple times.
Yeah.
Dog nasty and need to be removed immediately from modern entertainment contracts because deepfakes. They're going to be able to take someone's perpetuity face, deepfake it to make it look real, and have it say stuff that the person doesn't agree with.
By the time I'm dead and you're going to my mausoleum, I'm going to be hawking Black Rifle fucking coffee.
Lord, thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.